Davis. I ran track and field and cross country at UNC, and I am so happy to welcome you to this virtual 5K for Prevent Child Abuse NC. Partly because the 5K is one of my all-time favorite events, but also because this is a great cause and it's a great way to stay active and engaged in your community. I know that's been pretty difficult to do for the past several months. I also understand that many of you are student athletes in middle school or high school, and I can imagine that it's been really frustrating to try to keep up your athleticism and your training when there's not normal team practices and competitions. So I want to take the chance to introduce you to several people that I find really inspiring. The folks you're about to meet are from several different sports, including football, baseball, and cross country and track and field. And they represent schools including UNC, Harvard, and Barton College. I really hope that you enjoy listening to them, and I hope that they're able to offer you some great advice and inspiration as you tackle this 5K and all of the rest of your athletic endeavors. Good luck.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex White, and I am a current second-year medical student here at UNC Chapel Hill School of Medicine. I grew up in Western North Carolina, just about 2 hours west of here in a little town called Hickory. And I went to Maiden High School, home of the Blue Devils. It was a very small town public high school. We had about 800 kids, a little less than 200 per class. And I loved going to school in a small town. I knew everyone's name, and most people knew me, and we had some special times in high school. And one of my fondest memories of actually playing sports back in those days was that because it was such a small town, there were so many small churches that were just about on every block. And we would always have a really good pregame meal before our high school football games. And in high school, I played linebacker on defense and I played tight end on offense. And so I was always ready to eat and have a big meal. And those churches would feed us before every single game. And we would rotate. So one Friday we may eat at First Baptist, another Friday we may eat at First Methodist. And it was a really good way to kind of see the town and get to know everyone that was supporting our program. So I loved growing up in Western North Carolina. And then I had the opportunity to play college football at Harvard University up in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Was very, very blessed with that opportunity. And I competed at linebacker for 2 years, and then I moved to the defensive line and played defensive end. And really had a culture shock being in New England. My first winter that I spent up there, it snowed 3 feet in one single day. It was actually the first day after I came back from Christmas break. So it was definitely an adjustment, but I actually grew to love the cold. I love the winter. When the snow starts falling, I start thinking like, it's time to go to practice. I need to strap up and put my helmet on. But then that brought me to studying biomedical engineering while I was there, and then pursuing a pre-medical route. And now I'm here at UNC back home in North Carolina. And I am studying sports medicine. I'm hoping to go into orthopedics because I definitely feel like I have a strong connection to those types of athletes. So that's a little bit about me. Another question that I'd like to answer for everyone is what I am doing now to stay active and what I'm doing now to keep my spirits up during the pandemic. So it's been really tough. I know a lot of athletes have been frustrated with not playing their sport. I've got 2 younger sisters. One is competing in cheerleading here at UNC. Another is competing in volleyball at Maiden High School, where I grew up. And so they've both been deeply frustrated with not having an opportunity to go out and compete this fall. And I say one of the things that I think has really helped our family cope with not having our sport is really continuing to train as if tomorrow is our first day of practice. I think that gives a lot of structure, a sense of normalcy for everyone out there that has been deeply affected by not being able to play. A lot of the stress and fear that's going on with this disease, which is very real, it provides a way of almost distracting yourself and pouring some energy into something that is deeply personal. I know for me, the first year medical school was really tough, and so coming into the second semester, pretty much my whole day was sitting behind a computer screen, kind of like I'm doing now, and actually studying for 8 to 10 hours a day. And so continuing to train and practice while I'm pseudo retired, that provided me with a great deal of mental health that was crucial for me to be prepared for the day. So my schedule is, I like to wake up and the first thing I do is I like to practice. I like to go and practice, whether that's weightlifting, running. I've got one of my best friends here at medical school. He works out with me every morning, and so it's a very social thing for us. And I think that's also something that's helped my family and my sisters is they can continue to expect and hope that they're going to be able to play. And so they want to be sure that their bodies, that their minds, that their preparation is top notch for when they are able to actually step foot back on that court, back in that field. And so that's given them a lot of purpose and a lot of drive. The next question that I'd like to answer for everyone is, what advice do you have for student athletes who are not able to compete right now? So just once again, going back, trying to treat it like this is an off season per se. So really just having fun, going out there and training with the expectation that at some point we will get back to normal. Now, when that is going to be, no one really knows. I think it really differs on where you live. But just having a core group of people, whether they're your best friends in elementary school or middle school or high school, even into college, that you guys are accountable to each other and you continue to play. I really didn't realize how powerful and positive sports were in my life until I was actually done playing. That's why I continue to train really hard and lift weights and run. Is because it is so much fun to be able to do that, to push yourself physically and translate that into your sport. For me, the actual act itself is what brings me so much pleasure. I love going out there and pushing myself. So just continue to have practice with your fellow teammates and making that a very staple and stable part of your day.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jesse Holly. I went to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, where I played football and basketball. During my time there, I was a lettered 4 years in football, and I won a national championship in 2005 in basketball. I am now currently the athletic director at Kingdom Collegiate Academy in Dallas, Texas. And I am excited and happy to be here with you all today and just to share just a couple things with you and tell you a little bit about myself and how I've gotten through some things during this time of the pandemic, and just, you know, a little bit of motivation that I can give from me to you. One of the things that I was doing during this pandemic, you know, everything is locked down. You're in the house. There's nothing that you can really do. And I kind of built a small little gym in the garage. You know, I got some mats, some bands, some weights that I can find. If you know anything about trying to work out in this pandemic, you know, everything was sold out. Everything was in back order. But I was able to go to my school. Shh, don't tell my boss. But I was able to go to my school and borrow some weights, some dumbbells, some things from the school. I brought them to my house and I was able to get workouts in. So I would just constantly work out every single day. It's like, you know, when you get in college, you got the freshman 15. Yeah, I didn't want the pandemic 15. So I was like, I'm going to come out of this thing better than I went in it. So I just committed myself to working out physically 3 times a week with the weights. And then I would run 2 times a week, some sort of conditioning, you know, getting outside, walking around the neighborhood, walking the dog, walking myself, and just letting my mind listen to music, but just trying to keep myself active during this pandemic and the time that we were all locked down, because it got tough at times, and but I made it through, and we're still all making it through. So that was something that I did to kind of keep myself active. The advice that I would give to the student athletes right now who aren't able to compete, and I know things are loosening up all across the board, but there's ways to get better. There's ways to get better while you're not actually being able to compete. You know, maybe there's an opportunity for you to go out there and watch more film. Again, in the little bit of space that you have, each one of us has some sort of deficiencies that we want to get better in. Use this time to work on those skills, to better something. If you're really good at something, great. If you're not so good at something, I think you should go out and just really try to enhance those things. Talk to your coaches. They're going to be honest with you, and they're going to tell you, here's what you need to improve on. So while you're not being able to compete, my motto this entire pandemic was to come out better than I went in. So if you come out of this and you get to a point where you're competing again and you're not better than you were when you went into it, then not only have you let down the people that supported you and your teammates, but you've left yourself down. I mean, you've allowed this time to go by. I like to call it an extended training time. And you let this time go by and you don't get better. That's disappointing. And you let yourself down, those who believed in you down, your teammates down, your coaches down, your university down. So whatever this thing is that you're deficient in, use this time to get better. One of the most favorite memories that I had participating in a sport, I mean, there's so many, but I got a chance to play in the National Football League. But to me, it was hoisting that trophy in 2005, winning a national championship, and that's shout out to Coach Williams and my guys on that squad. It was just one of those things that I don't know. It's undescribable. It's indescribable. Indescribable. It's hard to talk about. That's how good it was. One of the most embarrassing moments that I've ever had in a sports game is we were playing a basketball game. I think it's been like Coastal Carolina. And I actually got kicked off the bench during the game. And it wasn't my fault. And so we have this thing where Coach Williams, we cheer on our guys when they get turnovers. And he had just pulled one player out of the game that he was kind of upset with. And that player sat right next to me. And he didn't get up when we got a turnover and didn't cheer our team on. And I was already up. And so it was like I was coming to sit down while he was already sitting down. And coach just turned at the wrong time. And he told both of us to get off the bench and go into the locker room. It was like the second quarter, so we were in there until halftime was over. But he later on apologized to me. But everybody at home saw me get kicked off the bench with another player during a basketball game. My favorite pump-up song, I'm not one of those rah-rah kind of guys. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, so I will always listen to Michael Jackson as my pregame music. Dirty Diana was my favorite song. So I always would listen to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, his perfection, the way that he went about his business always made me excited and always got me ready to go about my business. One of the things that I've done in the community during this time of the pandemic, when we really couldn't, go out and really touch people, I saw it on Twitter, and it was a nursing home. And at that time, nursing homes had this huge outbreak. And so people weren't allowed to come and visit their loved ones in these different homes. And I saw this little old lady had a sign up, and she was a big Tar Heel fan, and she wanted someone to write her a letter. And so I just began, I know it's old. I know some of you are like, what? Right? Yes. I got a piece of paper and a pen and stamps and envelopes. And I actually wrote handwritten letters to random people in random, assisted living homes across the United States. So some in North Carolina, some in Texas, some in my hometown in New Jersey. And so I just wrote letters to people. And I got on Twitter and said, who needs a letter, words of encouragement? So I would write little handwritten notes to people all over the country from me just during this time of pandemic, because I know that it was tough for a lot of people. So that's how I dealt with myself and try to help others in the community. Again, thank you guys for having me. I really do appreciate it. And always, always, always go Tar Heels.
Hi, I'm sorry to everyone for that terrible joke. Hi, my name is Rick Jernigan. I'm gonna keep going. My name's Laurie Journey. I'm a medical student at UNC. And I guess I get to talk to you guys about sports. I'm currently living in Wilmington, North Carolina. Used to play baseball at Barton College in Wilson, North Carolina. And, we're going to talk about sports. We're going to have a good time. There's an interesting time in all our lives. Sports and how we interact with them are kind of changing. Some people aren't allowed to compete. It's tough. It's tough to deal with. So I think it's important to, find ways to keep it a part of our lives. And some of that is doing home workouts or pretending to do them. That's good, just staying active and, maybe developing some strength. But I think a big thing in all of this is, find a new way to have fun, find a new way to, do a sport, sport you didn't ever think you'd be able to do or never even thought of doing. And for me, that was surfing. I've got my surfboard here that, has been a lot of fun to use. I've broken it multiple times because I'm not very good yet, but it's been so much fun. I would highly recommend, finding something new and exciting that, you've never thought of doing, or like I said earlier, like maybe didn't think you could do. Surfing was one of those things that I was like, oh man, I'll never be able to do that. But it's a weird time, where things are happening. So I gave it a shot, and definitely don't regret it. I think, all of this, sports, I think it's important for, self-improvement, but a big part of it is just, having fun. And so I think, that's should be a main focus of whatever it is you're going to try and do next. Another thing is, sports for a lot of people, it definitely was for me, is very important for like socializing. And so I think whatever you do, whether it has to be online or just communicating or competing with your friends about it, just find a way to make it social. I think, that's harder in some sports than others, but I think it should be, again, having fun and making it social, very important things in whatever it is you're going to do next. Another big thing that another benefit of, trying something new, a new way to have fun, is I think a lot of times multi-sport athletes develop skills and strengths that, you might miss out on if you just play the same sport or the same sports. For me with surfing, I've definitely found sore muscles that I didn't know I had before. And I think that's an experience a lot of people have when they try something new, try a new sport. And, you might find that, it provides a skill or a strength that, benefits you in whatever is your main sport. So it's an awesome opportunity in that. And I think another, way to look at this interesting time in our lives where maybe if your sport you're not allowed to compete is an interesting chance to develop. I've got a buddy right now in the minor leagues. Their season, didn't happen. And so he was given the opportunity to say, hey, I don't have to worry about, preserving my arm. I'm not going to have to pitch this week. So he said, you know what, I'm going to try and get better. So he just worked out and developed a lot of strength that he wouldn't have been able to do in a season. And he found himself, throwing, gosh, how much did he? I think he added like 5 miles an hour to his fastball, which is big, especially when you get up in the 90s. Like 5 miles an hour is a big difference. And so, it provided him that opportunity. And so I think it maybe, if you're, maybe in high school or something and, you're thinking, hey, I think I want to keep playing my sport after high school. Say, hey, this is an interesting chance to develop. I'm going to take that and, get better. And I think, this provides an interesting opportunity for that. And as far as about, my favorite memories in competing, I touched on a little bit earlier. I loved competing, loved self-improvement, loved my sport, loved playing baseball. But a big part for me was just the teammates and friends I made during the sport. So I think it's important to, in this time, if your season's been canceled, I think you take the time to, keep up with your teammates because they probably are missing the season just as much as you are. and maybe invite them along on whatever new sport it is you're going to try. So yeah, I mean, that's all I really had to say about sports, I guess. There's a lot more, but I don't want to take up too much time. I know everyone's so busy these days. But anyway, I'm going to get back doing a couple of thousand more curls, and hope to see you guys out there. All right, thanks.
Hey everyone, my name is Laurie Moody and I graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in 2018, where I was a member of the track and field team with Emma, and I ran the 800 meters. Since graduating, I moved out to Portland, Oregon, where I currently work as a global brand writer for Nike. And athletically, I am currently chasing a goal of training with my former college teammate Blake Dodge, and we're trying to qualify for the Olympic trials in the 1500. You know, I think it's fair to say that the pandemic has affected all of us in many ways, and something that's really helped me maintain positivity and get through each day has been choosing this crazy goal and kind of doing everything that I can every single day to make sure that I can get there. Whether that's, you know, doing the little exercises that I might not have made time to do before, or taking my vitamins, or putting a lot more detail and emphasis into my training logs as far as how each run felt and what I can do to make myself better for the next day. For the student athletes who aren't able to compete right now, my thoughts are with you guys. It is not an easy time for anybody, and I think it's definitely shown how big a role that sports play in our lives, and to never take for granted competition or health. Just the opportunity to get outside and get out in the fresh air, to be able to move is such a gift. And as far as any advice I could give you, it would just be try to keep up that hope, you know, that they're gonna try to work towards letting you guys compete one day and make it safe. But also just really focus on the little things and don't let the bad things get in the way. Channel your energy into doing the small things that will add up to help you in the long run. Because they will. They will for sure. And really just focus on the little wins, you know, whether it's you get a good grade on an essay, or you're able to finish a really great book, or even some stranger says hello to you on your morning walk and it just gives you a good feeling. These are really tough times and everyone wants some piece of goodness to hang on to. So maybe you can be the bright spark in someone else's day. But more than anything, right now, we need each other and help someone else out. Let their help be a great thing for you. One of my favorite memories from competing in college was definitely before every cross-country season. My family lives in the same town that we would go to train up in the mountains. And so every year it was around my birthday and my family hosted a barbecue night. So the whole team came over to our house and we were all just able to hang out and kick it back after a really tough week of training right before school started. And it was just a really great way of getting to not only be with my immediate family, but also this family of my team who I just loved and cherished every single moment with, right before everything kind of kicked off for the rest of the year. But I think it just showed that your team really is your family, and you guys are the ones who are there through the tough, the good, the great, and the bad. And you're going to be there to lift each other up. And before you know it, also those 4 years fly by. And you're no longer going to be in the same space as them or living within 2 miles of them, where it's just so easy to go jump in a car and see them or go to practice every morning with. So really just take in those moments of getting to be with them and spending as much time with them as you can. How do I deal with pre-competition jitters? That's a good one. I think nerves are always a good thing. It's not something that you want to shut down or just try to push under the rug. I think it's really good to get nervous and to get excited and let that energy within kind of build up. I would have to say that I try to calm myself by just thinking about how you've put in the work before. And essentially, there's nothing really you can do at the point of the race other than all of the work that you've done. One of my favorite quotes is, "The hay is in the barn already," you know? You've worked hard up to this point, and now it's, once the gun goes off, everything is up to you to just put it all on the line. And you know what? You've worked hard. You've got this. Nothing's stopping you to be your best.